Now, in this video, I will try to link as much as I possibly can below. So if you're interested in one of these knives, definitely check out the links below. Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared, and we got 5 quick knife reviews. This is the Spyderco Sage one in Marksman. And I do think that this is a knife that is very... It's under talked about. I don't hear enough people talk about these. They are awesome knives. Not only do they have a great shape and great action, it is a liner lock Spyderco, which this liner lock Spyderco, it gives you great access to the lock bar, a well-tuned detent. It is on phosphor bronze washer, so it's not going to be like a knife on bearings, but for a user, wow, these things, they cut really good. You have great ergos in this grip right up here up close to the blade. You have a lot of control in lots of different grips. The reverse cut, it's not as good as the other direction, but you can still easily do it, and it's just a great tool. And then in Marksman, talking about Marksman, Marksman, it is kind of a specialty steel. It's about the top, it's almost at the top of the food chain for super steels. It's not going to be for everybody. It is a steel that can be chippy. It's not a tough steel at all, but it does have insane edge retention. Now, from my experience, it takes a great toothy or polished edge. It doesn't matter. Both of them are very, very sharp on Marksman. Now, the one thing is that it can be a bit chippier with a polished edge. So if you do have a polished edge, you want to be a little bit more careful with it, not to smack it on things or hit it on anything, because you can get little chips in the blade if it's polished. Now, and a low grit, it does really good though. And let's be real, that's where most of cutting is best done, with a low to medium grit. The finer polished edges, that's there's a lot of things it's good for, but not necessarily EDC type things, like cardboard and straps and things like that. But amazing knife. And the wire clip is like the best in and out of the pocket type of clip. It's very easy. You can do it all one-handed. You don't have to pull on your pocket or nothing. There's plenty of lip and ramp right there, and it winds up working out good even for a lefty. You have the clip over here, where you can reverse the clip, and the action is just as good right or left-handed. And for a user, man, this is an incredible knife. Next, we have the Reat T2500. This is a Tachi Baruka design. Now, they also make a large version of this, because this is a small, compact knife, but a very, very well built knife. The carbon fiber inlay is seamless. I mean, you wouldn't even know it was in there if you couldn't see it, because you can't feel it whatsoever. The titanium hardware is very, very well done. And I always appreciate good titanium hardware. And they also give you a whole pouch of extra hardware. So you have all your hardware, or a second batch of hardware, if you ever want to switch it, or if anything ever happens. It does have internal stop pins, so that's going to help with side-to-side play and just for a really strong lockup. It has a steel lock bar insert on this titanium frame lock knife, and it is an M390, which Reat does a decent job with their M390. I can reverse flick this knife off of the bottom of the blade, because it is a small blade, so you get a lot of leverage. But with the flipper tab, it does have a strong detent. You can hear this. It is a very strong detent. I mean, so the flipper tab is a little slippery, but once you get used to it and like there's no jimping on it or anything like that, you know exactly how to use it, and it fires reliably every time. It is a 3-finger knife, but I tend to put the 3 fingers up here and use this little pad right there. And this is mostly a pinch grip kind of knife anyways, where you kind of just lock it right into your palm and use it like this. Well built knife. So if you're looking for a little bit more of a micro knife, this is an awesome little knife. But it is a tiny knife, and like I said, they're almost exactly the same, but he makes, I think, 3 different versions of this knife, or this style of knife. The T1500, 2500, and I'm not sure if there's a 3500. Next, the Monterey Bay Knives Old Guard, which is a Ray Laconico design. This one has the rose pattern carbon fiber, which is very beautiful, and a titanium frame lock side, M390 steel, which you can see right there. Thumb stud action on phosphor bronze and Teflon washers, which makes this thing very smooth for washers. It is frictionless and the action is really good. The lock bar access is really nice, very comfortable lock bar, and the lockup is pretty solid. I did notice a little tiny bit of lock rock, but it's so subtle it'll probably break itself in. If not, I've talked about it before, that is a very easy fix. And even if I throw it in the bad in my reviews, I consider it an issue that can be easily dealt with, kind of like a dull edge, you know. So, but good geometry. It's not going to be the world's best slicer, but with these ergos, as neutral as they are, very comfortable in the hand, nice long blade, a very useful blade shape too. So great slicing, great cutting performance, and the clip works very well. It does have a little bit of a point that you can see, one point of contact, with I usually like a little bit bigger of a surface of contact with my clips, but it still works great. It's a good titanium milled clip. So awesome knife, and like I said, very comfortable in the hand. It just feels so good in the hand. I feel like you have a ton of control with a knife like this. Next, now here's an old one, but man, I love these knives. The Buck Marksman. Nice deep hollow ground 154 cm blade. They also come in other versions with G10. This one's the aluminum version. Now, the locking mechanism. This is the strong locking mechanism, the SLS. And you can adjust it right back here through this hole with a little Allen wrench. And when you adjust it, this pin right here moves back and forth, which can increase or decrease the strength of this, which without that, it is a free swinging blade. So the action is so good on these, even though this lock or this bar or this band acts as the detent, it also acts as the lock. Very strong lockup, very solid, and that's how I usually unlock it, by pinching right here, and then I just grip the side and yank back. But you can also hold it and push forward like that on the blade, because if you're holding this, you're pushing the blade out. Great action, very fidgety. It can be dangerous though. When I first got mine, this one is on loan, but when I first got mine, I did cut myself pretty bad a couple times trying to, you know, learn the locking mechanism. So it is something you do have to get used to, but once you do, it is a very reliable knife. And the clip works great in and out of the pocket, very deep carry. A unique knife. And what you can do is you can also adjust this and basically make it a fixed blade. You can pull this strap back so far that you can't unlock it, and in that case it's basically a fixed blade. The 154 cm with the Boss heat treat is done very well. This one I put a 600 grit finish on there, or 600 grit edge on there, and it is stupid sharp. I mean, it just, you can just see it just touches you and it starts cutting. The ergos are great. You can put your finger over the spine of the lock and make it even stronger. love me a drop point hollow ground blade. Yes, the plunge grind sucks, but I love this knife. I think they should have made a 2.0 version. I know they did make a G10 version with a better steel and everything, but I think they should have just kept going with this. They could have made so many different options out of this knife, and yeah, I think it's a great knife. And last but not least, we're going to show two of these. We have the TWOSUN 81 bone and the TWOSUN 81 G10. Now, I've done a review on the bone before, and so I'm just going to do a quick review here. I think this is an incredible knife. I think it is a great way to get into high-end knives on a budget, and this is a real bone inlay. The milling is insane on this. You have a ceramic ball clip. You can see how insane this milling pattern is. The action is really good. The access to the lock bar is awesome. Detent is a little late, but you can get right past it. No problem at all. Now, this little hole isn't really that great, but you can use it. It's just not the best. And you have to keep your finger on off the lock bar to use it. You do have a nice choil here on this one, which I do like. Great plunge grind. This one's ND2, but they do have, I believe, M390 versions. Decent sized stop pin. Man, what a great knife. Now, when we move towards the G10 model, it's thicker. It is more beefier. You can see how much beefier it is, which makes it more of a palm filling knife. Now, I do feel the clip quite a bit because it's a deep carry clip, but aside from that, man, this is comfortable. I mean, if I'm on top of the clip, it's very comfortable. If I go back here, not so much because of the clip, but aside from that, very nice. Now, this one doesn't have the big finger choil like this one has, so it doesn't have as nice as a plunge grind or finger choil, but great action still. Great detent. And this little hole, though, you can use it. Like I said, it's not the best, though, on this one either, but you can use it. It's just tough. It's tough because it's right under this, this piece right here, so it makes it difficult to use. The G10 is very nice, and it has a lot of milling in it. The G10 is contoured and textured, and you can see the multicolors. The clip does work really good, but you do have the button style screws, the screws that stick up a bit, but it still works really good. Detent is nice and strong, works great. And even though it's an older model from TWOSUN, it's still a good model. But it is one of their older models, and in my opinion, they are doing even better work than this. But for something like this, it looks really cool. Just so much work done on it, especially for the budget. You can get these for like 60-70 bucks, and these ones probably $30-40, especially if you're buying on eBay. I will link these below if you want to check them out. But there you guys go. I love you guys. Peace.